Hi, you're listening to Comic Reflections. This is Nicholas Prom.
And Spencer Valadez.
All right, so Spencer, last night, great way to start the show off. Me screwing up. That's good. Last week, you were talking a little bit about that book you're reading, Captain America, The Captain.
Right.
No one can see my air quotes, but that's okay. I think you had you wrapped that up this week, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so do you want to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. First, I kind of want to do pros and cons of this book.
Okay.
And by no means do I mean don't read this.
Okay.
Absolutely read this book.
Okay.
It is great. The pros to reading it, you definitely get a sense of who Captain America is, who Captain America thinks he is, and the lengths Captain America will go to preserve what he believes the American ethic and morality is.
Nice.
Yeah, and it is great. The only con...
Right.
Okay.
I have that on my phone. I should have queued it up.
Absolutely.
Next time.
There's a lot, and it's a kind of a heavy read.
Okay. How do you mean?
It's long.
Okay.
As are most trades.
Most trade paperbacks are.
But it is all good stuff. The thing with it being so long is you get a lot of side stories.
Okay.
That don't
a lot
always,
of subplot.
Yeah. That don't always pertain to the underlying themes of the book.
Okay.
But it gives you a great insight to other characters. So we talked about last week. We have Demolition Man.
Yeah, D-Man.
The Falcon.
Falcon. Yeah. He's my soul brother.
Who was Nomad?
Yeah.
Who Captain America had betrayed for a while and kind of passed the mantle on.
Very briefly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the introduction of a small character. I thought she was kind of cool. Her name was Vagabond.
Vagabond. Okay.
Captain wouldn't allow her to jump into the fray without proving herself, but she started training with Demolition Man.
Of course. Well.
And she actually came to the rescue a couple times. She saved one of the leader of the Serpent Society. Sidewinder. At one point, saved him from being poisoned or dying from a poison.
Okay.
When he was bit by the Viper, who later becomes.
Oh yes, the Viper. She became Madam Hydra.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's tough to really stay focused on the main theme of the trade, which, I mean, people will probably argue this, but I really believe that the theme of this storyline is what does it mean to be Captain America?
Yeah.
Because we have two versions of him. We have the Steve Rogers version.
Yeah.
Who will fight to the death for the truth and justice and the American ethic, if you will.
Okay.
And then we have John Walker.
Yes.
Who definitely takes things to an extreme, while Steve Rogers will spare life at all costs, no matter who it is.
Right.
Walker's a little more trigger happy, I'd say. Yeah. He's more willing to kill to get things done, and you really have to decide whether or not the face of Captain America is a trigger happy SOB,
yeah,
or an ethic.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting dynamic you have there.
If I could interject.
Oh, absolutely.
And I like what you're talking about there. You know, Walker, there's no doubt that he's a hero, and he proved that as a U.S. agent. But he's definitely not the man to be Captain America, but because Cap strives to be a representative of the American ideal and very centrist. He tries it to be has to represent everybody.
Absolutely.
And the interests of everyone.
Right.
In what is in a just and like kind of like
right
kind of way. He's like really upholding the ideals of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
Definitely.
Whereas Walker is like, he has a stance. It's very extreme. It's not. Things are very. There's no gray.
Right.
He's very extreme, and he's very right wing.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that he can't be heroic, but he doesn't look at the bigger picture.
Right.
And he's, fighting to save people, but also not, because he leans too heavily into one direction, he does disservice to the name Captain America.
Absolutely.
And to, what that represents.
Right. Going back to something you said, the gray, it's something that we should definitely look into when we're looking at comics. I think we've discussed this before on the show. The shades of gray that heroes have to deal with, or just ignore. There's many who don't see those shades of gray, like Walker, like Hal Jordan sometimes. We've talked about
in the classic Green Lantern, Green Arrow team up stories.
Yeah.
You saw Hal go through a change because, and it was cool because he was open to like, okay, you've opened my eyes, let's go and on this adventure.
Right.
And the Arrow really showed him like look, you can't just judge by what's on the surface.
Exactly.
What's going on at these things. Just because something is the law, or someone is bigger than somebody, or somebody owns this land or whatever,
right,
doesn't mean that what they're doing is right.
Right.
If they're hurting other people or subjugating others, it's wrong. It's always wrong.
Absolutely.
So,
and I mean, that's a theme that spans comic book universes, DC, Marvel, all of them.
Oh yeah.
They tackle that issue, and you always get a good story out of it.
Yeah.
And that is one of the. I mean, what does it mean to be Captain America is a theme, the gray of being Captain America is also a theme, is a sub-theme of that.
And you can go even deeper and say, okay, what does that mean to be a superhero? And it's like, am I using this power, even though Cap's just like, the super
right,
soldier is the peak of
right,
human condition, but superhero is like, you fall into a role of, I have power over people. Am I going to use it correctly? Where do you go into that area where you cross a line? It's like, and then how are you different than supervillains?
Right.
Right. Who are blatant and they're like, no, this is about me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Another kind of theme is we've already kind of discussed it, is the moral and ethic of America. What does it mean to be American? What does it mean? Does it mean doing what your government says always, or does it mean standing up for what you believe in? And Captain really struggles with that. Does he go along with what his government is telling him to do, or does he stand up for what he believes the name Captain America means?
Right. And the trouble is, everyone knows that, like, look, America doesn't always do the right thing.
Right.
And I think the trouble with Captain America is, being a government agent, you're constantly going to be in conflict with that.
Absolutely.
But it makes excellent reading.
Definitely.
Because Steve Rogers is a moral man.
Right.
And
absolutely,
that morality is, a lot of it is centered around love of country, hence him being Captain America, hence his everything. But
wish you could hear my nods.
Yes, your nodding is really good. It's okay. I was kind of drifting away on that, but I think the point is made.
Yeah.
So plot-wise, I mean, who else are we talking about as far as villains and supporting cast? Let's talk about some of this.
Spoilers.
Yeah, always spoilers on this show. So
just deal with it. Go out and read it. It's great.
Enjoy it.
The main bad in this is a shadowy figure, kind of behind the scenes, working through the commission.
That, the commission. Okay.
That kind of sent Rogers packing.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out there's a kind of a clone of Steve Rogers.
Oh.
And he's wrecking havoc. He's taken on the persona of Red Skull.
Oh, no. The Red Skull cloned
Right.
Cap, and his consciousness is in the Cap clone.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming back to me now. Okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so at one point, John Walker, the new captain, sees the fake Steve Rogers and is furious. This is after he's kind of gone off his handle. He's killed a few people.
Walker?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's kind of has a few screws loose at this point. But he's still trying to fight for the good. And he sees Rogers, and he's just so distraught that Captain America would be behind all this. And of course, it's not.
Right. Now, is this Walker as Captain America or as U.S. agent?
This is as Captain America.
Okay.
So, this might get confusing.
Yeah, just a tad. That's why I was asking. So,
I
hate that they called this trade the Captain.
Yeah, it's.
So yeah, Captain America, the Captain. When you look for it at your local library or wherever, or at your comic shop, go to your
Yeah. So he's the main bad. He's working behind the scenes to get a specific member of the commission to do his bidding, which is kind of infecting the others into seeing all the bad that Captain America, Steve Rogers, had done, and he had all these back taxes because he was frozen, and
Oh, brother, yeah.
And so they were throwing the paperwork and red tape at him, and he just wasn't going to deal with it.
Right.
Steve Rogers.
Stupid. It's not like he was collecting pay.
Right.
For, anyway.
Right. Some others were the Watchdogs.
Ah, yes.
The super extremist right wing.
And they're all the purple and orange suits,
fighting for a morality that is twisted.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a nod to a lot of militia groups and things, especially that I think were happening.
Right.
I mean, you still have them, but I think that was a thing in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Another group was the Serpent Society, which as a crew they were kind of interesting to me. They all had
snake-themed supervillain group.
Yeah.
And not to be confused with the Sons of the Serpent, which was another right-wing...
Oh, okay. They weren't necessarily right-winged...
Oh, the Sons of the Serpent?
No,
I was just saying... the Serpent Society. I just meant they were a right-wing group, like the Watchdogs.
Okay.
Sons of the Serpent, but they were like a racist organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, you have some cool characters. Sidewinder.
Yeah.
He's kind of the leader.
He is his superpower. I never knew.
I know he has a cape that can transport people different places. I don't know if he has any other powers.
Sidewinder. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he's able to jump from different places, and that's how they're getting.
Some of them, the snake theme is real. Like Bushmaster is cool because he's got the claws and he's got that snake body, which is like Android or something.
Oh, is it?
Okay. The bottom, I think, is Android-y. He's not. Yeah.
At one point, Demolition Man, the Falcon, and Nomad are in jail with 3 of the not yet in the group, not yet in the society serpents.
Okay.
They're Fleur de Lance.
Fleur de Lance definitely gets in, yeah.
2 others, I can't really remember.
Was Constrictor in there? I love that guy.
He's one of them, but he's not. Oh, here they are.
Oh, yes. When in doubt, consult the source material.
Absolutely.
Words to live by, gang.
Black Racer is one of them.
Okay.
Really fast. I don't see other names. Oh, Puff Adder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Copperhead.
Yes. Yeah, I think most of those made it. So
quartet. Not quartet. That's 5, isn't it?
Hint? It's okay.
Whatever.
I get it.
These 4, they're not quite in the group, but they are causing trouble trying to get into the group.
Sure.
They're in jail and with the 3 heroes, but
that's interesting.
Yeah. Sidewinder pops in, helps them escape.
Of course.
And Nomad decides to get pulled out as well. And so it's kind of this, are you really that good if you're allowing yourself to be...
Or was it just kind of the ends justifying the means, or like,
right,
this is a way and we'll get
and so,
D-Man out and, whatever?
Well, D-Man decides to stay.
Okay.
Because it's what Cap would do.
Oh.
Right. And so it's kind of one of those questions, what do you do?
Right.
Those are always fun. But yeah, so the main bads in this is the Super Society. At one point,
so we're looking at this book. Is is that Falcon posing as Electro?
No, it's
Now I'm gonna have you explain this.
Right. Main badge is Superman Society, so let's put that out there.
Okay.
In another part of the story, Iron Man shows up, and he's realizing that his
Tony Stark looks like John Hall from Hall & Oates.
Yes, he does.
In this, it was the 80s, folks. Steve could be like,
right.
Oates, like,
yeah,
they do look like Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so terrible.
This is such a great comic. I didn't even realize that.
This is too tangent.
Oh,
We
he
need to rein
has
it
a
back.
sweet mustache as well.
Yeah, the wicked stash. It was the 80s.
Right.
Where's your Trans Am with the sweet stash and the mullet? Okay, so
back to the captain.
Back.
We have Tony Stark realizing that his power suit is being used to house criminal, or his suit's not being used. Security members of the Vault.
Oh, the guardsmen.
Yeah, the guardsmen. They're using the suit to guard the big bads of this universe in the Vault. And he doesn't like the idea of his power suit just being out there for people to use, because if it goes rogue, he can be blamed. And so he's going around destroying these suits.
No, eventually he did design a very light kind of suit of armor for the guardsmen to use.
Right, but this was their a power suit.
Okay,
that they were using.
This was an original Iron Man suit.
Kind of.
Okay.
It doesn't look like Iron Man, but it is a power suit.
Okay.
He doesn't like that they're using them.
Right.
Because if one goes rogue, it'll look bad on him.
Totally. And it's so funny that very same kind of thing happened a little bit in the Avengers animated series that's going on right now, which is a very excellent show.
I think we mentioned it last week.
Maybe, but definitely I recommend watching Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's that and Young Justice are 2 animated series that are going right now. They're like, this is great for us grown-ups too.
Awesome.
I really can't stand the ones that they make that are like, let's try to make it kid, and then it's just a crap show. It's like, just make something good that people can watch at different age levels.
Right.
Right.
And so Steve Rogers gets wind that Tony Stark is going to go and destroy these suits.
Mm-hmm.
And he confronts him and says, don't do it. I might not be Captain America right now, but I'm going to stand up for America, and America needs these suits to control the bads.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can't, what's the point of having a supervillain prison if you can't, It'd be like having a regular prison and the guards don't have clubs or guns, right?
Right.
You know.
And so Tony Stark decides, you know what, I'll let it go, but then goes home and realizes he can't.
Yeah.
And so he plants a Trojan horse with, let's see, what's his name?
Was that Rhodes? Jim?
It might. I want to say yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, folks. This will just be a second. Yeah.
Yeah,
Rhodes.
Okay. So Rhodey is going in as Electro.
As Electro.
Got it.
Painted white face.
Man.
Yeah.
How embarrassing for him.
For him, yes. He actually makes that comment. If the folks back in...
Okay.
Yeah. They'd razz until Christmas. Breaks in because he does not have a super metahuman body. He's able to walk through the force field.
Okay.
And Trojan horse the
facility. The vault. Okay.
And
I feel I shouldn't have said anything to because we're getting way involved in the subplot. But that's
we are, but it's a good story.
We should just say people should just check this out and read it, and we'll move on.
We'll move on. Again, Serpent Society, main bads. At one point, Walker is blackmailed.
Okay.
When he finally comes out as the new Captain America.
Okay.
Two folks show up, left and right winger.
Oh, I forgot about those guys.
Yeah. And they say his full name.
Yeah.
And say, hey, this is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, the Watchdogs capture his parents and tell him to come down, and they're going to string him up for defending the rights of people to have porn shops and adult-themed things.
Walker stands up for those guys.
By defending them,
right.
He's throwing in with them.
I get what you're saying. Okay.
The Watchdogs are even farther right than Walker.
Right.
And in an attempt to
Walker is kind of like a Archie Bunker kind of curmudgeon-y, right winger guy, So.
And in an attempt to save his parents, they're shot down. And they're killed.
His folks are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Really sad because he was on the straight and narrow. He was doing good as Cap. But this kind of throws him over the edge.
And this is why people have secret identities, because when you're public, your family become targets.
Right.
And so this is a recurring theme in comic books, and it's a real one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if this was reality, that would be, a fact of life.
Right.
So.
And so he goes to town on the left and right winger. Mm-hmm. He actually, I think, blows them up. I don't think they die. They're just in critical condition.
Wait, they killed his folks? Oh,
because they outed him.
Oh, that's right.
Right. He blows them up. But I think they survived. They're not mentioned anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then we have what's his name?
Flag Smasher.
Flag Smasher. That's
he's
right.
He's a semi-classic Cap villain. I mean,
his story is the beginning of the end of this.
So it's the last arc that's in here. Okay.
So he's gonna be he's frustrated because he finds out that his organization is being funded by Red Skull, and he does not like that. And so he tries to flee. They go after him, and he calls for Captain America to come up. He's taken hostage a scientific community up in the Arctic, I think. And he calls for Cap. He calls for Cap. Walker shows up. He's upset because that's not Captain America.
Right.
Steve Rogers shows up, and then it's really kind of a landslide to the rest of the ending, which is a good ending. I don't want to ruin it too much.
Save something. I mean, really, there's a lot there to read.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. One funny thing, kind of to wrap it up. Ronald Reagan is in the story.
Oh.
Who
the Gipper.
Yeah. I love him to this day. Might not be the greatest president around, but there's just something about him I love.
Might not be in the top 150 presidents.
But he is bitten, or he's infected by the Viper's evil plan to poison Washington through the water system. Becomes a serpent-like creature, and he ends up with these fangs, even at the end of his storyline.
Oh man!
And it's just a great story. Read it, folks.
Read it.
Definitely.
Read the Captain America. Okay. So where do we want to go now, Spencer? I know last week I reread Crisis on Infinite Earths. I know you've been reading it.
Yeah, and so heads up to our listeners. Read this book.
Yeah.
Read this. Absolutely.
I mean, it's absolutely essential for any comic book fan.
Absolutely.
Even if you prefer Marvel over DC, this is such a key book.
Yeah.
Read Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I feel like this is probably going to be a two-parter for us.
There's so much to talk about, and that's okay. We definitely will.
Yeah.
Probably have to carry on, but it's okay. We'll do it.
Because I'm not completely finished. It's not that big of a book.
Well, it's 12 issues. It's
But yeah, it's
such a dense.
Yeah.
As far as plot and character,
mm-hmm.
the story is so dense. You know what? We could tell you everything, and it'd still be such a fascinating read.
Absolutely.
But I mean, you couldn't tell you everything.
Right.
You know. It's just great. I mean, I'll just start off by introducing it. It's like This was a story kind of devised by Marv Wolfman, and
it says
art by George Perez, who was this was the team that was doing the Teen Titans book in the 80s, and which was wildly popular. But this was kind of created as the 50th anniversary story for DC Comics, and also to kind of clean up their continuity problems that they've been having. I don't know. Last week did we talk about the multiverse, or we didn't talk about that at all?
Even if we did, I think it'd be important to read.
Well, let me just do that. Okay, it starts out like this. The multiverse was kind of a thing. DC Comics, at the dawn of the Silver Age in 1955 or 6, when they introduced the Flash, Green Lantern, and stuff like that, they're kind of the second wave of superhero comics was born, and it's probably the greatest one. But by creating these new incarnations of certain heroes like the Flash and Green Lantern, a lot of old fans were like, well, what happened to the Golden Age Flash and Lantern?
Yeah.
And they explained it away by saying, like, okay, the ones that you're reading now exist on Earth 1. Okay, and the Golden Age heroes live on Earth 2. And there's and Earth 1 and Earth 2, Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, okay, the characters that had been published continually.
Right. And,
like the Justice Society, those guys, they're on Earth 2, and the guys that became the League, they were on Earth 1. And they explained it as they were just parallel worlds, and they vibrated at different frequencies or something like that. And so the Flash was able to, because of the super speed and stuff, travel between these worlds was possible. And so you had to go these great stories where you met Barry Allen, the Silver Age Flash, met Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash, and then it turned into a thing where you would have every summer they'd do a story where the Justice League had a Justice Society team up, and they would combat some crisis, and this is kind of where this kind of starts. It got a little tricky because DC then, over the years, started buying up other character properties from companies that were either in dire straits financially or had just gone belly up. So they acquired Plastic Man, and they acquired like Uncle Sam and the Human Bomb and the the rest of the Freedom Fighters. And then they lived on Earth X. Okay, and that was the planet where World War II never ended, or the Nazis won.
Right.
And then in the early 70s, when they acquired the Captain Marvel and his family characters, they lived on Earth S. And we live on Earth Prime. And so they had a handful of planets, and then I think there was Earth 3, where the crime syndicate lived. They were like an evil Justice League that ruled Earth with an iron fist, and Lex Luthor was that world's only superhero.
Right. Yep.
And then Earth 4, which was introduced very briefly before being incorporated in DCU, actually right before Crisis. These were the superheroes from Charlton Comics. When Charlton folded in 1985, they were bought up by DC, and you got the Blue Beetle and the Question and the Peacemaker and Captain Atom.
Right.
And those characters were actually the models for, and were originally going to be characters in Watchmen.
Oh, wow.
If you think about those characters, like, Captain Atom is Dr. Manhattan, basically. The Blue Beetle being Night Owl. The Question being Rorschach. And so on. Peacemaker was, I think, to be like the comedian, and I think Nightshade was like the Silk Spectre. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, so these characters were kind of like that, but then they decided that we're going to do something different with that.
Right.
So we'll be talking about Watchmen very soon, so we'll get on that. But anyway, so there was a multiverse. You had all these different planets, or different versions of Earth.
Right.
And they had all these opportunities to do stories where they travel to different worlds and whatever. It was a sort of unified universe and so on. But DC felt that they were tired of answering a lot of these fan questions about, where did this guy come from? So they came up with Crisis to kind of like create a storyline that would streamline the DC universe, and they could relaunch from one point of continuity.
Right.
And so we have the idea of the multiverse, like these worlds slowly being destroyed, and the heroes of the various Earths trying to, once they become aware of it, trying to solve this crisis, or and save the universe.
Right.
And I'll let you kind of.
Right. I mean, I feel like we should just kind of start from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, really, we ought to. It deserves.
We're the saying behind Crisis of Infinite Earths is, worlds will live, worlds will die, and the universe will never be the same. And honestly, like, they live up to it.
Yeah, it's epic. It really is terrific.
I made the mistake of reading the intro of the 20th anniversary.
Yes, Marv Wolfman gives away spoilers to people who are just coming in this cold in his 20th anniversary thing, but what can you do?
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't take away from what happens at all.
Yeah, I mean, knowing certain characters die, you still go in and the impact is still very strong. I said we start off with Monitor. We don't. We start off with the Pariah. Ah, yes, Pariah.
He has committed sins that have left him in a state of just misery. Terrible, terrible situation in which he sees he is transported to acts of great evil, and in this series, he's transported to each one of the Earths being destroyed.
Yes, so as they're being absorbed or destroyed by antimatter.
Antimatter, yeah.
And if I'll just give his kind of origin, he was a scientist on his world. And the thing in DC Comics, it's like if you try to discover or unlock the origins of the universe, or if you reach it, it is catastrophic.
Right.
So he believes that he has... this is his fault that this has happened.
Yeah.
So.
And so he's present at every Earth's destruction. Yeah. So he's seeing millions and millions of lives being wiped out completely. And so he definitely feels responsible. And so we jump in and
it opens up on Earth 3, and he's seeing the destruction of.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that right? Where it's the crime syndicate.
Yes. Oh well, maybe.
I'll just wait.
I'm sorry. We have characters that they the one of the problems I've had with this is a lot of characters' costumes look so similar, and so we open up and we have Power Ring and
Ultraman, and then Owlman. Oh yeah, and Superwoman. Yeah, this is the crime syndicate.
Yeah,
and there's Johnny Quick. Oh yeah,
just so similar to Green Lantern, Superman, and
and they're supposed to,
right, because they're
yes
opposites. And so we have Lex Luthor as a superhero, which was odd to me at the beginning, but I mean, if everyone's opposite,
but the nobility of the Earth 3 Lex Luthor is just wow. And he's married to Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the final minutes of Earth 3, he puts his son into a vibrational jumper thing.
Sure.
And saves him. And he's sent to I think it's just a.
I believe he goes to the Monitor satellite where he meets.
Is it directly there? Yeah.
Where he meets Lila or Harbinger and the Monitor.
Yep.
I believe that's correct.
He is born both matter and antimatter.
Oh yes, because he was there at the end of his universes.
Right, and so he is both within him, alive and dead, and destruction, and everything.
I think that might have been. I want to say that Earth 3 might have been in the antimatter universe, like Quard.
Was it?
Maybe. I don't recall. There's so much little details, but
yeah, there are many. We then go to Harbinger on Monitor's satellite that is in between. It's in the matter world, but it's outside of space.
It's very confusing, and I still don't understand what the deal is with Harbinger, and the Monitor's role is kind of like it facilitates the story.
Yes.
So one might say this is a bunch of crap, but it really isn't.
Right.
It's beautiful.
And she, the Monitor, has her go and collect superheroes of the different worlds because she's able to jump from world to world.
Yes.
He starts collecting superheroes.
Yes. And it should be said, in the couple years, in the year or so leading up to Crisis, because they planned this story for several years, they had the Monitor and Harbinger kind of make appearances throughout, and they appeared in every book, just a couple, little, and they were observing and learning the abilities and stuff. They were trying to find who were going to be the right people.
Right.
Because I think they knew the Crisis was coming or was happening, and were preparing to combat it. So, and we'll learn more about that why later.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And so we get the King of the Gorilla.
Oh yes, Solivar from Gorilla City. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we get let's see, the Blue Beetle.
Oh yes.
He's contacted.
There's a Dawn Star from the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. Who else? There's Blue Beetle.
Arion, Lord of Atlantis. Yeah.
Yeah. And the introduction of in this story of the character.
Oh, the Psycho Pirate.
Psycho Pirate. In an mental institution, is given back his power.
Yes, which is the manipulation of
emotion, which is just it's an impressive power. Yeah, really.
Well, there's a reason he's in the bug house because how can you handle that?
Yeah. And then we have Firestorm.
Ah, yes.
And
Killer Frost, his arch nemesis.
Yeah, she actually falls in love with him at this.
Due to the tampering of the Psycho Pirate.
Right. It doesn't last, unfortunately.
Yeah. Love that lasts forever.
And they're all summoned to the. Oh, and we have.
You got Dr. Polaris. You got a whole slew of guys. I think you've got Earth 1 Earth 2 Superman.
John Stewart.
Yes.
Green Lantern.
Oh, and Obsidian too.
Yep, Obsidian.
And Simon. I love villains who have the exposed brain.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
Definitely.
That's wonderful.
He's actually important throughout.
Oh yeah. And what a great villain he is. I enjoy him.
We have I think Geoforce, is that him?
Oh yeah, Geoforce from The Outsiders. Yeah. Firebrand. I think she was. I want to say part of the JSA, Justice Society of Merc.
Going through all these characters is going to take forever, so we should probably move on.
We should just go with I think some key plottiness.
Yeah, we have these shadow characters that kind of erupt from the ship, the satellite, and attack.
I believe they are the servants of our adversary.
Yes.
In this tale.
We don't find that out till later, but it alludes to it.
Yes.
And
so we see all these cool cats that have been summoned to the Monitor satellite, battling these shadow beings, and it's pretty epic.
Yeah. And then
just the beginning.
Yeah, this is just the beginning. We're introduced to the Monitor.
Yes.
He is doing his best to protect the worlds, and I think within a couple, if not the next issue, we're down to 5 worlds.
Yes.
So 1 and 2, or Earths. Sorry, we're down to 1 and 2, S.
Earth 4.
Earth 4.
And Earth X.
Earth X. That's right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So
how many was that?
That was 5.
That was 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Earth Prime, we were already toast. Right.
Yeah.
So.
There was one survivor. It mentions it.
What I don't understand is the one survivor of Earth Prime is Superboy.
Is it?
Which doesn't make and I know it makes a check out this issue of DC Comics Presents to find out that can I just know?
Right. Am I alive or not? You know.
Yeah. So I don't know how there was a Superboy on the Earth that you and I live in because it's supposed to be these are all stories that we read.
Right.
Oh, when I was talking about Earth 1 and Earth 2 early on, the adventures of the Earth 1 superheroes, or excuse me, Earth 2 superheroes, were comic book stories in Earth 2 comics. Oh. So the main, the Silver Age characters, like Silver Age Flash grew up reading Golden Age Flash stories. They're different and they're like about 20 years apart.
Okay.
And so that's where he kind of got the name and the inspiration. Right. And then when he traveled to Earth 2 for the first time by accident, he was like, this is like Central City, but not. And then he's like, what's going on here? But it feels familiar. Right. So he looks in the phone book. He's like, Jay Garrick, the Flash that I read about in the comics.
Awesome.
Like, okay. Awesome. So, and then he looks him up. I love when he looks him up in the phone book.
Right.
And then goes to his house.
Right.
Classic.
Definitely.
I read that story earlier this year and just loved it.
That's awesome. Awesome. Throughout the first few stories, we have
lots of little soliloquies of different time frames in different books. I mean, you see, I know you see in the 30th century, you see the Legion of Superheroes. You see like prehistoric. I can't remember this guy's name.
Anthros.
Anthro. Which is his caveman book. I think you see from the Great Disaster time period, which is post 21st century, pre 30th, obviously. And you meet Kamandi, the last boy on Earth. Another wonderful Jack Kirby creation. I got a pile of Kamandi comics at home, waiting to be read.
And I think the second issue, we jump to the Joker and Batman.
Of course.
Classic rivalry. But in the midst of Batman taking down Joker, we have Barry Allen show up.
Yeah.
And he's freaking out. Looks like he's melting. Asking for help.
He looks like an AIDS patient. His costume looks like baggy on him.
Yeah.
He looks terrible.
And he's calling for help from Batman. He sees Batman, and then he's gone. He disappears.
He just kind of fades out. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it leaves questions. Which keep you reading. These are the hooks.
Yeah.
What happened to the Flash? Or when are we going to find out what happened to the Flash?
I love that because every issue of this 12 issue thing, and I think a couple are like double sized because they're always like, no, we gotta make this bigger. But they at least in the first half of this, there's more questions than answers.
Oh yeah.
And I've got to keep going. I got to know what's going on.
Right.
So it's just wonderful. So.
Yeah. And good for us, we learn what happens with the Flash later on.
Yeah, it's not so good for Flash.
Not so good for the Flash. Monitor summons the heroes again.
Heroes and a couple of villains.
Yeah.
Simon and Dr. Polaris.
Yeah.
And Killer Frost.
And he tells him he has a plan. He has set up on each world a...
we grabbed Psycho Pirate too, right?
Yeah, Psycho Pirate.
Yeah. Okay, that's right.
He's set up these machines on each planet that'll help stay
stem the tide of antimatter. Okay.
Yeah. But it's going to bring them into contact with each other. The three worlds at first.
Okay.
And they're going to be in a close to the same space and time, which, if all three are in the same space and time, all will be destroyed. But they're overlapping right now, so it's not so bad.
Right.
But
the Monitor is able to hold us in place for a time because of those machines.
Right.
But yeah.
We get our first taste of the Owens in this.
Yes, the Guardians of the Universe. This was my other correction. I kept referring to them as the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Which is totally different because there's a Marvel comic team of the future.
Oh, okay.
Like Legion of Superheroes, only lame, called the Guardians of the Galaxy.
And these are the Guardians of the Universe.
Yes.
Immortal beings. We learn about Quark and Oa.
Oh, Quard.
Quard, yeah. Quark is Lady Quark.
Ah, yes, Lady Quark.
She enters in later.
Yes.
Her Earth is destroyed.
Yes, and it was, I can't remember, it was a non-specified other Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were jumping around a lot, and I'm sorry, but
it's okay.
This book jumps around a lot.
It does. A lot of subplots, and so it begs not only to be read, but reread again and again. And you'll notice more things every time you see it, because there's a lot of... You'll see lots of panels with lots of characters, and sometimes there are subtle little things. Yeah.
But back to these machines. Each a group of heroes / couple villains are sent to protect them.
Yeah.
And they're having a hard time with it because everyone thinks that it's the Super's fault that this antimatter or this presence is coming to destroy them.
Right. Or some people think that this machine is responsible, so they have to defend it.
Yeah. And so they have a hard time with that.
And those shadow beings show up at every one.
Yeah.
Because they're being, again, sent by our as yet to be revealed adversary.
Right. Again, we have
Alexander Luthor. And he's growing to manhood.
Right.
Rather quickly.
Quickly, yeah. We have
you got Psycho Pirate?
Psycho Pirate. Can never remember the first part.
It's okay.
He's attacking the Pariah because the Pariah shows up and
Pariah's always super bummed, very morose, and Psycho Pirate's trying to make him cheer up.
Right.
And it's sickening in a way.
Definitely. He could be driven mad easily, but somehow he holds on. I think it's probably because of his curse. Psychopirate is then drawn into the adversary's presence. We don't know the adversary yet. Still, another hook to keep you reading.
Like, who is this villain?
Yeah.
The mastermind behind this crisis.
Right.
You know.
And the Psychopirate is...
You might also call him the antithesis to the Monitor.
Right. Clever.
I had to be a douchebag like that. Sorry.
So the pirate becomes a puppet of
our
foe. Yes. Yeah, and so I mean, so much happens that it's hard to just try to.
It's okay.
Give you a good overview. Yeah. So continuing on in the next issue, we have the young Luthor, son of Lex Luthor of Earth 3.
Yes.
Still growing. He looks about teenager-ish now, and we start to learn that the Monitor has a plan more than just the machines that he's set up. That each member of this little odd family, the Monitor, Harbinger, and Luthor, and the Pariah, have their own parts to play. And it's coming down to it. We have a long.
Oh yes, you see, I think Sergeant Rock
Company,
in there.
Yeah,
Easy Company.
Yeah.
And I think you see the Haunted Tank in there too, which is cool.
Yeah. So we have the introduction of Brainiac.
Ah yes.
And his awesome skull octopus.
I love it. It's basically like. Because it's got all these, like, it's a skull with tentacles. It's like Terminator Cthulhu.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's really sweet.
We have another...
well, I think I see the Titans and the Outsiders there.
Yeah. We have another...
appearance of Barry Allen, the Flash.
The Brainiac has a bit of a plan. And he's planning.
What is Brainiac's plan?
He later on he begins gathering up the villains, like Harbinger gathered up.
Doesn't he? He grabs the Earth 2 Lex Luthor rather quickly, and
and they start plotting because he sees.
In this, they know they're the only two people that they can trust.
Right.
You know, which is so awesome.
Yeah. Those two who hate Superman so much.
Yeah, and I tell you though, there's so many great Silver and Bronze Age Luthor and Brainiac stories.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I love them.
We're still not getting much information, but what we do get is
Harbinger is sort of the identity of Harbinger. She's in Lila/Harbinger. Is it Lila or Elijah? I think it's
Lila.
Okay. No, I was thinking Elijah. That's something else. Anyway, she's in a way a sleeper agent for the enemy.
Yes.
And the Monitor knows it.
She knows it, but she doesn't know that he knows.
Yeah. And anyway, she kills the Monitor.
Yeah. Kills him dead.
And that exacerbates this crisis. Like, oh, great.
Right.
At least we had somebody, leading this. So,
however, in his death, brings on about the saving of 5 worlds. The 5 worlds.
Yes. And how does that happen again?
His energy is released.
This is where they were able to hold them kind of hold them off from being destroyed,
right,
and from merging,
right,
yeah. Okay.
I can't remember if this is the just the 3 worlds or if it is the 5 worlds as well. That world's being destroyed.
Okay. It's okay. We don't.
Right. Yeah. At one point, 5 worlds are saved. Just so you know. Continuing on, Alexander Luthor is a grown man now, and he has his own cool suit. Lila has realized that she killed the Monitor, and she's very distraught because he saved her.
Yeah, she was like an orphan, and he raised her. He was basically her father.
Right. But in his death, much is saved. And so we have these worlds that are lost in time and space, and they're having to deal with all these, a T-Rex in the middle of Times Square, and, or downtown Metropolis, wherever you want to say.
Sure.
And so we have another gathering of the superheroes.
Oh yes, it looks like, and you've got.
You have
and villains. I see Per Degaton, right next to the Metal Men, and you see everybody in the Justice League.
You see the did you say Metal Men?
Yeah, so the Metal Men over here, and I see just JSAers, and I see
you have a Spectre there with.
There's a Phantom Stranger. Yeah. Swamp Thing's there too.
Yeah.
So,
you just have so many.
Yeah, it's wild. It's the whole thing this was supposed to be the entire DC universe. This story touches everything, right. And they do an incredible job of doing it.
Oh, definitely.
It's so massive.
Yeah.
So.
And so you have the gathering of these superheroes, and the call of Harbinger, Pariah, and Alexander Luthor, to stand as one united force against this. This threat, it starts to get really good. We have another.
The Lantern Corps shows up.
Yeah, they're actually on Oa, and they're actually blasted back. We're not really given the reason they're blasted back, but they're unable to help the immortal. Guardians, yeah.
Yeah, it should be said that while this story is the main vein, all the DC books at the time, a lot of these little subplots are explained away in books that were going on during that. So it's just really crazy. I mean, if you wanted to be a nut and try and collect all the issues that Crisis tie-ins,
it's kind of.
But I mean, this is still awesome sauce.
Great stories. Let's see what we have. Yes.
We have the introduction of the Anti-Monitor.
Yes, the fabled villain of this story.
He was the Anti-Matter universe's counterpart to the Monitor.
Right. We were told the story of a Guardian who
Krona.
Yeah, who
it was before the Guardians. This was when they were just before Oa was.
Right, they were a prosperous society, civilization.
Yeah,
and he decided to again look for the origins of the universe. And again, bad things happened.
Yeah, and I think in a way, that may have been the birth of the Antimatter universe.
Yes, the creation of the Antimatter universe, and the creation, therefore, of
the Anti-Monitor.
The Anti-Monitor,
and also the world of Quard, and the Quardians, the Weaponers of Quard, were the centuries on, or not centuries, but millennia long or forever enemies of the Guardians and of Oa.
Right, and the creation of the Green Lantern Corps was an answer to the question of what do you do with evil, and these guys are definitely evil.
Right.
And they said, do we just outright destroy evil, or do we give it a chance? And their first option was destroy it.
Yeah.
With like robot beings that they created.
Oh, the Manhunters.
Yes, the Manhunters.
Yes, but the Manhunters were too extreme.
Right.
And that's because they were robots.
Right.
And they didn't have the judgment that sentience could have, and that's why the Lantern Corps was created. I forgot about the Manhunters.
Yeah.
And why I forgot. Yeah, but anyway, they become a problem for the Green Lantern Corps.
Right.
Obviously, but.
And we have the introduction of a great Green Lantern, Guy Gardner.
Well,
a
notorious Green Lantern.
Yes, notorious. Well-known Green Lantern.
Yes, Guy Gardner, when Abin Sur came to Earth and was dying. The ring originally had selected Guy, but Guy was in a coma from an accident or something he had, and so the ring went to Hal. Years later,
not a bad choice, by the way.
No, Hal was probably the greatest. That was probably the greatest mistake, or you know what I mean, like accident of happenstance that could have happened. But twist of fate, I should say.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Hal came out of the coma, he was not the person that the ring had selected. He wasn't evil, but he was really brash and arrogant. He had, the head trauma really changed his personality.
Right.
So you have a hothead for a lantern, because later, I don't know why, but later he gets to be a lantern. But just like because Jon Stewart became a lantern, is selected as a backup for Hal. So when Jon Stewart was selected, Guy was still in his coma.
Right.
So yeah, that's so to my knowledge, Crisis is where we see Guy for the first time.
And I think with Crisis on Infinite Earths, we're going to leave it for today.
Really?
Yeah, we'll have some major spoilers at the beginning of next week's talk on. Oh, we have more time.
We can talk for a little more, 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Really, we can keep going.
Okay. Yeah. I can. Oh yeah. So all these heroes are pulled together. Guy Gardner's not here, but we do have Jon Stewart.
He's a great lantern.
Right, yeah, definitely great lantern.
I love him on The Daily Show.
Yeah,
no.
I always forget.
Oh, you meant Alan Scott, the Golden Age lantern, who has nothing to do with Oa and the Guardians, but he has basically the same power, only the lanterns of Oa, the Green Lantern Corps, their weakness to the color yellow, he doesn't have that.
Oh,
but he does. But his ring is ineffective against wood.
Oh,
so the joke has been made on the Batman: The Brave and the Bold animated show. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's great.
Okay.
It's loads of fun.
Okay.
It's a lot of people have called it a love letter to the Silver Age.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, cartoony.
Okay.
But it's excellent. Like, it's a great show that you could watch it. Just watch it.
Okay.
But anyway, they said, like, Guy Gardner actually said on the show, on this tangent, but it's got to be told, to Alan Scott, like, sorry. Oh, well, what are you going to do if somebody comes at you with a pointy stick, whatever. And his answer is like, same thing as happened to you if they paint it yellow, So, I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Back and forth. We talked about this earlier. If you see one of your heroes in danger, which is definitely a possibility in this story, just remind yourself that it might not be your hero. I saw Hawkman being attacked by Dr. Phosphorus, and I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And it was Golden Age.
It was the Golden Age. It's the Hawkman of Earth 2.
Right. Not that it's not.
Well, it's still Carter Hall, but that Carter Hall was a resurrection of or was a reincarnation of an Egyptian king, not a Qatar Hall from Thanagar. Right. They changed things a lot. It wasn't an alien.
Okay.
Oh, you Silver Age reintroduction, and the point of confusion, starts with calling the Silver Age versions Earth 1. And the Golden Age characters are 2.
Right.
Thanks, Gardner Fox. No, I can't blame him for that because he created so many wonderful characters.
Right.
I love you, Gardner Fox. Yeah.
I mean, we have Green Arrow here, interacting with Hawk Girl, and I think that's Golden Age.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Is he Golden Age? Green Arrow?
Here's the thing. You'll see the Green Arrow clean-shaven, and that's going to be the Golden Age one.
Okay.
When you see him with the beard and stuff, that's implied that that's the Silver Age one.
Okay.
Even though he didn't get the beard and stuff until well into...
Right.
Actually, it was almost the Bronze Age. But I digress. We also see the Atom here, too, but...
Right, and the cool thing about this story is that you get introductions to, not necessarily characters that you'll read later, but
You get a huge just smattering of the entire DC universe and its universes, the multiverse at that time, and it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we have a caveman here eating a microphone. Someone from the 30th century. 30th century.
Yeah, so she's from the timeline of the Legion of Superheroes.
And then we have someone who was on his way to sign Jefferson's Declaration.
Yeah, time has just gone haywire.
Gone crazy.
Yeah, so...
and so this is when the Earths are being
merged. And that makes sense. And, and the multiverse is in just this state of chaos.
Absolutely.
So and the fact that time and space are affected by this is just perfect.
Right. And so we have the heroes. I forgot to mention the Red Tornado.
Ah, yes.
And his
captured by
the
Anti-Monitor and Psycho Pirate, who is now in the employ.
Right. So they also have Barry Allen captured. The Flash is being held hostage by the Anti-Monitor, and the Red Tornado is being held by the Anti-Monitor. The Red Tornado is actually going to be used by our villain to attack the heroes, even though they are in this state of safety from the antimatter. They can still be attacked by a physical force.
Oh, of course.
And so the Anti-Monitor uses Red Tornado's tornado skills to attack one of the Earths. I'm not quite sure.
And it's vague because
because it jumps so much.
Yeah, I mean,
trying to keep it straight.
The Psycho Pirate is manipulating the resonance of that Earth. So is it?
Right.
They're on Earth 1. So that's the Earth of the Justice Society.
Mm-hmm. Justice Society.
Yeah, of Earth 1, the Golden Age heroes.
I thought.
No, I'm wrong. Excuse me. Earth 1 is the main. Oh, my goofballiness. That's the Silver Age.
Right.
World.
So it's confusing, to say the least.
But
it's
this is
fluid.
why they created the Crisis in the first place, because people are like, you need a scorecard to keep track of the multiverse.
Right.
Case in point, what just happened here.
Right. So they defeat Red Tornado, and again the introduction of Anti-Monitor. And so the heroes are gathered, and they are sent to fight the Anti-Monitor. I mean,
yes,
I've skipped a bunch.
Yeah.
But I mean, to try to cover
during this, I think you see they're visiting Earth 4, which is the home of the Charlton characters, Blue Beetle, and so on, and Earth S was where the Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel, Captain Marvel Jr. And those heroes that are residents of those worlds are being manipulated by the Psycho Pirate.
Right.
Supergirl shows up, and Captain Marvel is ready to throw down.
Yeah.
The big red cheese, as he's often affectionately known, is pretty, like Mr. Wholesome. Okay.
Right.
I love Captain Marvel a lot, not because of that, but just because he's a wonderful hero. You see him like savagely, trying to repel invaders, blaming people without thinking, and he has the wisdom of Solomon,
right?
So he is supposed to be cool and collected in these situations.
Right.
This is a great case in point. You're also seeing, Captain Atom and the Beetle, trying to fend off heroes who are trying to save their world.
Right.
But the Psycho Pirate's influence, of course, doesn't last forever.
It doesn't, and that is where Harbinger's part comes in.
Her greater role in
the story. She actually uses up much of her Harbingerness in
let's get all technical.
Right. in fighting against Psycho Pirate's ability.
Yes.
And
gosh, her
breaks
power
the
is vague.
hold. Yeah. Breaks the hold on the heroes who are being controlled.
Right.
Which then they realize, oh, sorry, Supergirl, I didn't mean to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And
That's a pretty good Captain Marvel impression.
Thanks. They all realize they have to stand together.
Yeah.
Or die alone.
Yes.
Lost reference.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the final scene so far is the introduction of the new Wildcat.
Yes, because the Golden Age Wildcat of the JSA is injured in battle, saving a child, paralyzed.
Right.
And this chick, takes up the mantle.
Yolanda Montez.
To honor him. She witnessed him saving that child.
Yeah.
And she was from his neighborhood or something. So
yeah.
But she has powers.
She does.
Ted Grant was just a prize fighter. That was me tearing off a piece of paper, bookmark of that. But I think that's about where we ought to wrap up for now.
Yeah, definitely.
This is such a heavy story. We'll probably have definitely a part 2 just talking about Crisis alone.
And you know what? I think we made it about halfway today.
Wonderful. So I know that we can do another and talk about the remainder. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been Comic Reflections. If you want to...
Yeah, one last thing. Email us your comments, your questions, and everything. comic.reflections@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right. Let's catch you next time.